Here we go again. That was my walking about break. I'm doing a bit of walkabout. BRB screen with cats. Yeah, I could do that. So, I hope you've enjoyed watching a little bit of Anna while I was offline. As you might have noticed, I set up the auto host function, and it works that way that as soon as I log off, it's gonna wait a few minutes and then it's gonna find someone on my auto hosting list and just plop them in there if someone's streaming. And of course Anna is on my auto hosting list, so if anyone's here that doesn't know about her, they'll have a chance to find out who she is as well. Thank you, Dark Winter Dreams. I am back. So, we did a very simple troll figure, or 18 layer troll figure made out of different spherical objects. And what we have to do now is, of course, that we have to do an enemy object to so that we don't just have a graphic, but we actually have something that can move around. So I'm just going to go in here and create an object. I'm gonna grab the troll sprite. Like that. It's visible. Yes, I want it to be that. Parent, it has no parent. It's gonna be a parent, but more about that later. So right now what we need to do is we need to add a few events to it. And it is going to first of all have a create event. If you can remember from last, I'm going into the control here, dragging my code in here so I have something to write in, and then I am going to start. Oh yeah, that's the rehost thingy. Thank you for rehosting me, Sasu. Very kind. And I'm gonna start out by doing my 3 forward slashes here, so that way it won't just be a comment, it will also be the headline of this piece of code. And I'm gonna call it initialize variables. There we go. That way, when I say yes here, this here changes, and if I had a lot of different code in this event, it would make it possible for me to see where I wrote what. So it's not really that it's necessary here, it's just the thing about trying to keep your code up to a certain standard and always doing it in the same way to avoid the mistakes and the confusion when you forget about commenting your own code or making it easy to navigate. So first of all, we have some. We know that this troll is going to move 2 directions. It's going to move left and it's going to move right. And I'm going to use that, and I am going to preset the direction to be left. And if you can remember, look at the cursor here. We have this here. This is our 0. Then we have y positive, x positive, y negative, x negative. So that means that if I want this direction to move left, I want it to move negative. That's the left direction. So direction initially is gonna be -1. There we go. And just to keep good style here, let's put a comment and call this horizontal direction. That's the horizontal direction. And negative value equals left. That way, if I should forget it, I have it right there. Then, as you remember with our player object, we have a move speed. And since this is an enemy object, it's not going to be responding to key presses that you do. So it's just going to have a set movement speed. I'm going to put that one at 2. Why 2? Well, it's a place to start. I can always increase or decrease if I don't like it. So what this is movement speed per step. And if you remember, step is the step event. So if you have in a room where there's 30 steps, this would be 2 pixels times 30, so it would move 60 pixels per second, basically. So besides the movement speed, we want the gravity, because we want it to be able to fall. And remember, I'm not using the built-in gravity variable. I want to control my own numbers here and my own code, so I'm just calling it grav, and I'm putting it to 0.2, which is the same that the player object was set at. So let's go out and comment that. That is just our gravity value. There we go. Then we need the same 2 values that we needed for the player, which is the HSP and the VSP. Learn about parents and where the child comes from. Yeah, well, I can code a kid, but that's the only kid I'm gonna get. It's the kid I code. So, so we're gonna do a HSP. That's the horizontal speed variable. We're gonna initially just put it as 0. And we're gonna do the same. Same for the vertical speed. So VSP. Right now I'm not writing a comment on these 2 lines. Probably should, because if I went away from this game for half a year and came back, it's not sure I could remember why I did this. But let's just hope that this is an expression I use enough, so I remember that. I'm going to put in one more variable here. And that variable is a variable that's only going to come into use for real when we make this enemy the parent of another enemy. And I'm gonna call it the same thing that Sean Spalding, who did these tutorials originally, called it, and that is fear of heights. And I'm gonna set that initially to 0. So initially our enemy, the one enemy we have here, is not afraid of heights. So, and to comment that code, we can say, am I afraid of heights? And 0 equals no, and 1 equals yes. So right now we have a value where the enemy that we have here, our parent enemy, is not afraid of heights. That means he's not going to stay on a platform. He's going to walk straight off the platform if he can. So right now it's not really anything he's going to use for anything, but his kids might use it for something. So we have it in here. The next thing that's going to happen is this was the create event. All we did here was initialize the variables, so let's say OK for that. Kid, baby goat, yeah. Baby goats are cute. We call them kid as well, except with a very soft D. They're called kid in Denmark, so almost the same spelling. Yeah, next event. Add an event, and the next event is of course the step event. The one where we define what this troll is going to do every step. And this is where we keep our collision checks and stuff like that, so that we make sure that those are things that are being checked every step of the way. first of all, the horizontal speed is going to be a result of two of the variables I put into the create code. Remember, I did the direction and I set it to negative, so that's -1 at the moment, meaning moving left. And the other direction, the other variable we're going to use is move speed. So I'm going to write something like this, that the horizontal speed equals the direction, in this case for beginners, -1, times the move speed, and the move speed was 2. So if your direction is in the beginning, you have had no reason to change your direction, you're moving left, you will move left at the speed of 2. Your HSB will become -2. If something that has happened has caused you to change your direction, so it's now positive, then this will come out as +2. So your HSP will be either -2 or +2, depending on whether you're moving left or right. That's really what this line says, based on the values that we had in the create event. So let's call it horizontal movement and direction. Yeah, doesn't look like I've done any spelling errors yet. That's always a good thing. And our vertical speed is initially 0, but if that comes into play, we are going to use the gravity variable. So as long as we're moving there, we're going to take the gravity into account and add the gravity. So what this really means is that if you're falling, nothing stops you, you're going to keep on adding the plus you're going to keep on adding the 0.2 for every step, so you have like increased gravity actually. So let's remember to use our semicolons here. And then we come to the horizontal collision. Luckily, I've already just done something with a horizontal collision. So let's start out by saying yes, there we go, there we go. Let's go into the object player, because the object player had a step event. Down here, collision check. There we go. So, how much of this do we need? I think we need the horizontal collision and the vertical collision. Let's grab those and just do a very simple copy paste here. Copy. Remember to go to the right event, the step event. Let's go in here and paste that. So, to get back to what this was doing, we just talked a lot about it, I know. We're going to check, am I running into a wall? Horizontal collision. So while I'm not running into a wall, I'm going to keep on moving in the direction that I should. And if I'm running into a wall, that's after the brackets down here, it's really saying, check if I'm running into a wall. If I'm not running into a wall, keep on moving. If I'm running into a wall, stop. And down here, the colliding up and down checks whether or not when I move, am I going to run into a floor or a ceiling? Everything's called wall here because it's easier just doing the one object. And if I am, stop me. If I'm not, I'll just keep on moving, basically. So I'm just going to double check in my notes. Did I change everything at all in this code? Yes, there is one thing there that I did change because I wanted to do something here, right here. This is while I'm not running into a wall horizontally. if I'm running into a move horizontally, yes, I'm going to stop, but I'm going to do something else. I'm going to change direction. So I'm going to take my direction, and I'm basically just saying multiply by -1. So if you were positive before, become negative. If you were negative before, become positive. So that way, if you were walking left and you hit a wall, you are going to start walking right, and the other way around. So there you go. I don't think I changed anything in the vertical collision, but let me just check it out. No, not yet, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't change anything about that except for when I'm gonna make the troll child. So far so good. Let's try taking that one and that one. Let's take the room and try plonking in an enemy somewhere. Like, let's put him up here so we can see that he actually walks off the edge. So, objects tab. Object player, no, I'm gonna take my object 2, it's called. Didn't I call it object enemy? 1 second. Let's just rename this one so it gets the right name. OBJ enemy. Otherwise, the rest of the code that I'm writing is going to have some flaws because we need to know that that's the object enemy. And back into the room, into the objects, pick an object, an enemy, and let's place it right there. So it's going to plonk down there. Now if everything works right, what's going to happen is he's going to plonk down here. When the game starts, he's going to start walking left, hit the wall, start walking right, and then he's going to fall off the platform, and then he's going to start walking left and right down here. So let's just move ourselves over here once and see if we can get this working. And play. I'm here. Oh, there he comes. He's definitely doing what he's supposed to do there. Whoa. You see, right now nothing happens when we run into each other. There is no collision whatsoever because none of the characters are made to be solid, and I haven't written in any collision checks between enemies. So right now it's just Benny and the troll running back and forth down here if I want them to. So put him up here. But at least we know the movement is the way it's supposed to be. As you can see here now, it's just the idle that I did. But if I made it to be sideways, we could, of course, it would look better when it changed direction and stuff. So, I can't remember, did I tell anything about views last time? Was I talking about that? If not, it's very, as you can see here, when the game starts up, I don't see the entire level. I can move here, and when I move, other parts of the level is going to appear to me and stuff like that. And these are some settings that I can work with when I'm inside of the room. Can't remember if I explained that. Let's just close this one down. So for instance, when you're in here, you can see there's a tab up here called Views. And when I'm in that, it'll have one here called View in Room and one here called Port on Screen. Let's try just putting the port on screen down to the size of the view in room. But what this really means is that the view in room is the area of pixels that's going to be visible from this area. Oh, I don't think I need that one. And the port on screen is going to be the size of the window that you're going to get when the game starts up. And down here, this here is the center of the camera, And when it says object following, I've made it so my camera follows my object player centered on my object player. So that's pretty short explanation of views. And views are used a lot. I mean, everyone who's played RPGs or MOBAs and stuff like that, they know what it's like. You move around and there's a map that's immensely bigger than what you're actually seeing at screen, but when you move around, your camera moves around with you. And that's basically the same thing that we do with views here. You can set up to at least 7 different views to work with. Just make sure that if you do that, that you're very clear on which views you're using where. So right now what I have is I've got a window here that's really 1100 times 1400. That's really the size of my level. But at any one time, I'll only be able to view 750 times 750 pixels of it. So extremely exciting, I know. There we go, that's view explains very, very shortly. Now, I was talking about the fact that right now they're just running into each other. There's no collision happening whatsoever because we really need to have a collision with the player. So we have to check out whether the enemy is running into the player to make anything happen here at all. And this, once again, isn't that much code. I'm just going to go into my step event once again. I'm going to go down here at the end of all the code that I have here, and I'm going to call it enemy collision. There we go. And this is what we're checking here is something you've seen so many times before already. We're doing this place meeting, and instead of the object wall, we're going to check out whether or not we're running into the object player. This code I'm going to write is relevant to this enemy. So it's the enemy checking whether it's colliding with the object player and not the other way around. This is a way to make sure that you don't end up with all your code in your player object. Because this part of the code will really only be relevant to the enemies who needs this code. So I'm going to do if place meeting. Place meeting. And I'm going to do XY object player. Like that. And the type of enemy that we're working with, if you've played a lot of platform games, you know them. They like running back and forth in the room, and if you jump on top of them, they die, but if you run into the side of them, they kill you. And sometimes if you jump on top of them, you might get a coin or a power-up or something like that. So we're going to add some power-up stuff later. I'm not sure I'm going to do that today, so let's just make one that if you jump on top of it, then you know that you're the player's killing the enemy, and if you're not jumping on top of it, the enemy kills the player. That's going to be the result of the collision here. So I'm going to start out by doing my brackets because I already said if, so I need a pair of brackets here. I can write in between. And the thing I am going to check is the y coordinate of the enemy object and the y coordinate of the player object. So what I'm going to ask is the y coordinate of the player higher or smaller, because we have these reversed x and y axes due to graphics. So So I'm going to test if the object player's Y is smaller than the enemy's. The player is going to be on top of the enemy, colliding from above. So if, just push this in here a bit, and if that's true, it's going to do something, and if it's not true, it's going to do something else. So let's start out with the player win scenario. We are going to collide with it from the top. So if obj player dot y, that's the object player's y, is smaller than the enemy y, and I'm gonna do the enemy y, and then I'm gonna put in no, let's just start out with the enemy y and see how it works. Depending on the height of the characters, sometimes you're going to go in and say, well, I might have to adjust a bit here, plus or minus a bit on the y, to make it look like a collision from above, as well as being in here. So y is object player's y smaller than the y of the enemy? Yeah. Hi Ryoshi, welcome there. Good to see you. So I was going to check out whether you're colliding from above. So let's put in some more brackets to say what are you going to do if it is the player who's the winner, you're colliding from above, you're going to smash this enemy totally, and you're going to get something from it. What are you going to get? So one of the things I want, because that's kind of a classic thing, is that if you jump on an enemy, you get to jump in the same way as if you were on a floor. So with and that's because the reason I'm writing with is what's happening here is not happening to my enemy object. Even though I'm writing this code inside the enemy object, the object I'm referring to here is the object player. So with object player, and then I'm basically just going to do the same thing that I do when you jump. I'm going to put the vertical speed to be equal to minus jump speed. Minus, of course, because we have this negative thing where if a value is negative on the y, you're moving up. So that was my minus. Minus jump speed. There we go. And the second thing that I want to happen is I really just... Oh, I forgot some brackets here, didn't I? Didn't I? Someone should warn me about that. So brackets there. And I want brackets on the other side as well. Yeah. So if object player has a smaller y than the enemy y, I want the object player to be able to jump, and I want this enemy to die. So instance underscore destroy this, if I can spell it right, instance destroy, there it is, and a couple of brackets there. Yeah. Now if I wanted other things to happen here, like for instance I want it to, when you kill the enemy, it has to throw out a power-up that I can then grab and use for something, I would put this in here in the code as well, and we're going to look into that later on when we do some power-up. But this is what's going to happen if you collide from above. If you're not colliding from above, well, basically the player's going to die, or rather this room is going to restart. So I could really just go down here and write room restart. But what I am going... Oh, thank you for the host, Ryoshi. Thank you. I want to just show you something about scripts as well, because let's stuff stuff into a tutorial stream like this. So I'm gonna activate a script. So if I just collide sideways with the enemy, I'm gonna run a script called death. That sounds good, right? So I'm gonna do an else here. I'm gonna do some brackets. And in between those brackets, I'm just gonna write scr_death with some empty brackets here because scripts needs those. Because we haven't talked about scripts yet. As you can see now, right now, it's here with a white text. It's not with a red text, so Gamemaker doesn't really recognize it yet because I haven't really made that script yet. So let's just save this. Go over here to scripts, create a script, and just call it scr_death. And save that one. Now when I go back into my object enemy here, you can see now it changed color to yellow orangey color because now Gamemaker knows that this script exists. That's pretty simple. Yeah, I know. It's so terrible about games. You kill stuff all the time. All the time, I tell you. So let's do that script right away because we've already written in here that that's what it's going to do. So let's do this. Let's say OK and go into the script here. Say what's going to be in this? Well, basically, all it's going to do right now is room restart. There you go. Room restart. Very simple script. Why would I do something in a script, you might ask? And I mean, this isn't really a good reason to do something in a script. Just to show you that when you do code in a script, what you get is code that's accessible from all other objects, all other rooms, where you can just go out and you can point at this script and or another script, and whatever in it, it's just going to run that. So I think that was close to being it. Let's see. Let me check my text here. Yeah, that should work. Let's see if that works. Oh, error in object enemy, event step, action 1 at line 30. There's a bracket missing. So let's go into the enemy event step at line 30 and see if we can figure out what bracket we were missing. So, step event, line 30. Let's count our brackets here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, there we go. You can see here I have one bracket here and one there, and I only have one there, so I need one more here. That should do it. There we go. The error went away. Let's try running that again. Close that one down and do a play. There we go. So now we're waiting for the troll. Oh, something happened here. Let's see what happened. Fatal error in action number 1 of step events for object enemy. Variable object player jump speed not set before reading it. Do I not have jump speed? Let's try and see if we can figure that out. There we go. Somewhere around here. what it should do is it should use the jump speed of the player, but it says that this one isn't set, so let's try checking out the object player. Pretty sure, oh, that's it. It's because this one says jump speed normal instead. Let's go in and call this jump speed normal instead, because we're going to use that for the power-ups later anyway. So that's why. So back in here, and instead of jump speed normal. That should hopefully do it. There we go. Once again. Yeah, there we went. You just killed an enemy. Nice. So we know that he kills him if he jumps from above. Let's see if it works if they run into each other sideways. So we play it once again. Yeah, room restarted. Room restarted. Why didn't the room restart the other time? Something made it read the Y coordinates differently. Let's play that one again. For some reason, it believes that these two are not really aligned properly. So let's try moving the Y on the enemy here. Right now, we have in here, down here, you can say, is the object player Y smaller than the enemy Y? But since both of them are centered, I'm supposing that it might have trouble recognizing that. So let's put this one a little bit lower. Let's say that the enemy's Y, let's put it to halfway down. So if it has a height of 128 pixels, that's minus 64. Oh, you can do a death counter if you want. Of course, that's not a problem. You can count basically everything you can code. Yes, you can do that, Ryoshi. But equals to question mark? I'm not sure you can do an equals to question mark. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Is it a bit like the apostrophe being a not? Let's see here. Room restart? Yes. Room restart? Yes. See, now it's working. Now it doesn't get confused because I told it that it shouldn't count from the enemy Y, it should go even lower on the enemy. So, there we go. Let's check that it still works. I jump on him, I can jump, and he dies. Yes, there we go. Still a pretty boring game, but at least now we have one enemy that we can fight. So let's close this one down and let's talk a little bit about parents and children. Yeah, I'm always, it can be hard to tell sometimes when it comes to coding, because you know, stuff means stuff sometimes. So we got that working. Now what we want is we want a troll that is really, really boring, afraid of heights, and just keep walking back and forth on top of a platform. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into objects. I'm going to create an object. And I'm here. There's something here that says parents. Out here I can choose and I can choose from all the objects that I have, and the object that I want to be the parent is the object enemy, because I wanted to have everything that the enemy has, but I wanted to have a little bit more as well. So there we go, object enemy. So let's call this one obj enemy no fall. There we go. He can't fall. He's gonna stay on that ledge no matter what. So far so good. A little bit at a time. This is to show that if you use parents when you have a group of enemies that's very much alike, really, and you want to not have to code each of them individually. Hi, Moiko Plays. I am making an extremely simple platform game, and it's based on the tutorials that Sean Spalding, the community manager from Gamemaker, made on platform games. I'm just spending a bit more time on it, talking a bit about the graphics, and giving people an option to ask questions if there's anything they want to know about it. So I want to, for instance, have a group of enemies that's almost the same, like they can, for instance, all fly. Then I would do the thing where I take and I make a parent enemy. This parent enemy might never be needed for anything. It might only have the code in it to fly, and not really that useful as an enemy. But every child you make of that enemy will inherit that code. So that's just an easier way. Yes, Sean Spalding tutorials. He's a great guy, and he's very good at doing codes where you don't run into too much trouble. So I really appreciate his tutorials. So you'll probably recognize a lot of this if you did the platform tutorials. So very, very simply, there's going to be a create event. Add an event, a create event. I'm going to go to my control tab here, and then there's this little block here that's call events, and I'm going to drag this one in here, and it gets the text call the inherited event. And what that means is that it gets everything that its parent has in this create event. If I don't call the inherited event, things I do in this enemy's create event, yeah, that's exactly it, Moiko. That's exactly it. Oh yeah, anyone who knows the household knows that right now it's 10 o'clock. That means that the cat alarm is going off because the cat expects to be fed anytime soon. So I've got my boyfriend nodding at me. He's gonna feed the cat. There's 3 cats behind me, Moiko. One of them is a Maine Coon, and if you ever had a Maine Coon, you'll know that they can be pretty loud. Pretty loud. So if you hear the call of kibbles all of a sudden, that's the cats being called to dinner. Okay, cats aside, I just did this thing where I drag a piece of code into my create event. And what I'm going to write is very, very simple, because, you know, I already made sure that that it inherited everything from its parent. So anything I'm going to write in here is, you remember that funny little thing called fear of heights? Yeah? Well, this guy, he's not going to fall off the ledges, so we're going to use the fear of heights value. And then I'm going to set it to 1. So you remember that it started out being a 0, which meaning no fear of heights, which was what the parent had. And this is the one area where this child is different from its parent. So no errors, anything here. So let's just say yes to that one. And let's say OK. Now let's go into the room and let's try, let's move this troll here, down here, so he gets to, now let's put both of them up here. So this is my normal enemy. He's going to go to the left, hit the wall, and then just going to jump off. Then I've got my other object here. Now I have my enemy no fall. I'm going to plonk. Oh, 1 second. I did forget to put, why is he not having a sprite? That is weird. Sprite. Here we go. Enemy no fall. There we go. Yeah, I'm doing this as a combination of tutorials, Moiko, where I do the Gamemaker part, trying to keep to the simple tutorials, and then I use GIMP to create graphics, where I try to show how you can do graphics very simply by I'm not even using my pen and tablet. I'm doing all the graphics with the mouse and using the built-in tools in GIMP. So that was the two different enemies. Let's try and see if we can make this run and see one of them stay on the platform, and hopefully the other one is going to do the same thing he did before. So let's play this. Nope, he fell off. He fell off. Damn it. He was supposed to stay up there, so something went wrong with that piece of code. Oh, don't feel like a noob, Moiko. The point is that not everyone can... I mean, I'm not a great coder. I do a lot of tutorial stuff to learn the things that I need to learn. I mean, I have a degree in computer science, but it's never been like my strongest suit. My strongest suit when it comes to game is mainly graphics, because I've been drawing different styles my entire life. Call the inherited event. It did that. And set field heights to 1. It did that as well. Oh, it's because we haven't written the field height codes into the parent object yet. Of course. Stuff like that. Give me a second and we'll get back to that part of it as well. It's when chat distracts me. Yeah, I like that bouncy effect. It's fun. So when we go in here, our create event here. Oh, we're still in a no fall. I wanted to go to the other enemy, the normal enemy. There we go. Into the step event, where we have all our collisions and stuff. We also need to put in the vertical section here. Am I colliding up or down? Remember that part? This is where I'm going to put in my field heights as well. So after I've checked here, check, is there something beneath me? Can I keep on moving? Right? Instead of just continuing everything, I'm going to check if field of heights, and I'm going to write some down here, and I'm going to try to explain it underways as I usually do. So I take this value, if field of heights. This means this is going to register if field of heights is a 1, but it's not going to register if field of heights is a 0. So if field of heights and these double ands is an and in here, not position meeting. So we're back to the position meetings again. If you won't get anything else from this tutorial, you'll learn about collision checking. Position meeting, there we go, and it's the usual. We want an X, we want a Y, and we want an object to collide with. So let's do that. Do our brackets here. X point, Y point object wall, because object wall is the one that we're colliding with all the time. Yeah, field height. That is such a great variable. Now here, I'm gonna, yeah, these are one of the things. I want to make sure that I haven't stepped off the platform. And I want to make sure by testing that, you know, my X is at the center. So that means halfway within my sprite width. So that's what I'm testing. I'm testing the sprite width. So X plus sprite underscore width. This is once again one of the things that is built into Gamemaker, so you don't have to think about it. Sprite width is a Gamemaker function here that measures the width of the sprite you're working with, and then we're going to divide it to by 2. And I want to make sure that when I check downwards, that the y is the same thing. It's plus the sprite height divided by 2. And after that, I'm going to do what Sean Spalding calls an arbitrary number. That should be a constant. I haven't made a constant for it yet. But so here, sprite width divided by 2. Sprite height is it, of course, when you have the y-axis. Height divided by 2. It's because when I test the y, I'm centered, so I'm halfway down my sprite already. So I go the other half down to the bottom of my sprite, and I want to go a little bit lower than that, a couple of pixels lower, to make sure there's a platform there or not. When I check the X, I again take the origin of my sprite is in the middle. I'm going to go to halfway out, which means the edge of my sprite, and test that I am not stepping off the edge. But with my y, I want to make sure there's a platform there. So I'm not just taking my y plus sprite height. I'm taking my sprite height, and then I have some pretty skinny platforms. So, and I don't know, I might want to do something that's really just a thread to walk across. So I'm basically just going to do a +1 here on the y. So this is all on the y, the sprite height and the +1 there. Really just to test where am I on this platform. Okay? Yeah, making sense to anyone? If it's not making sense, say so. Obsessed with cats. Cats are pretty nice. Don't know if I'm obsessed with them, but I do have them. So we went all the way out here to the whole thingy, going down here, next line. And now is the time where I have to check out all my brackets, because I want it to be before this next brackets, and I need to put in a set of brackets. So let's make sure this here, you can see that corresponds to that one, that's the entire expression. But I want to go into here in my if statement and do a set of brackets. Oh, yeah, remember to use the wrong combination of the keyboard here. And what do I want it to do? If it's almost falling off the platform, I want it to change direction. That's basically it. If it's gone to the edge of the platform and it checks that to the edge of the platform and sprite, oh, the platform's stopping there on the x-axis, there's nothing there. It's checking downwards on the y, checking, oh, there's nothing here anymore. I'm going to change my direction. So how do you change your direction? We did that once before, up here. can see. Direction times equals -1. So I'm just going to copy that and put it in here. There you go. And I think that was all I needed for this one. Ha! Then your mom ain't that much older than me, really. Just a couple of years. It would be fun watching my mom using Gamemaker. Oh, I'm fully aware that there's probably people in chat who I could be a mom to if I was ever supposed to be a mom. But I'm just not the type. Let's try running this again. See? Got him. Yes! Look, isn't that beautiful? Now he's staying up there on the platform. Just walking back and forth because he's so afraid of heights. So far so good. Also, I hope you got an understanding of what is I use the parents for when I do this. Really, I could choose to say that the simple parent that only just walks back and forth, I don't really want that. I don't have to use it anywhere. But it's a great thing to have to make sure that you can make differentiated enemies. Nah, I'm not a mom person. Oh, don't listen to your parents when it comes to that, Moiko. You're the one who's going to have to live with the kids. And if my choice is between kids and cats, I'll have more cats. And my boyfriend agrees, that's important too as well. Make sure you don't get a significant other who's really crazy about kids if you don't want any. That's pretty important. So, but that was very simple, the idea about how to use enemies. And this was the simple troll enemy. Like I talked about, we had the other selection for an enemy was supposed to be a hunter. And I see a hunter as someone who shoots. So we're going to do a different style of enemy. That might be stationary, but you call it that in English too? It might stay in the same place and then just shoot and not be in the picture when you enter. So I'm going to do a different stream on that one. The last thing I really wanted to go through tonight is I wanted to talk a little bit about graphics and tiles. As I've talked about a couple of times before, graphics can be one of the heavy things to run. It can, if you don't think about how you use it and you use a lot of graphics, it can end up being what kills your game. If you don't get kids, it feels like you're failing life. Why? There's like 7 billion people on the planet. Let's not really see that as a fail, not adding to that. I mean, you can always be a good uncle or aunt, or you can be great to other people's kids instead. I mean, I have a lot of fun with other people's kids. And there's a lot of kids out there that needs an extra adult without them being parents. And if you're a parent to your own kid, it can be harder to find the time to help the other kids out there who needs the extra adult. Oh, well, in Gamemaker, it's a good thing to sometimes fail life a little bit because you'll learn a lot from it. And actually, that's true in life as well. Fail a little bit once in a while. You'll learn from it. What did Bingy say? I didn't see it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Just imagine that. Me and Anna as stream mummies. Wouldn't we just be adorable? Trying to get the kid to shut up so we could continue streaming. Wouldn't that be great? Nah, I think I'm gonna jump that hurdle in another life. So, I was gonna talk a little bit about tiles. So, right now you've seen the sprite aspect on how to do things. That when I do an object, it can have one or more sprites. The sprite can be an animation. talk about my entire life. Oh, Michael, I should point you towards the podcasts then. I was recently in one, and I was in one before that as well. So, yeah, that's true, Zazu. You would have to watch the kids. Luckily, my mom always recognized that I don't have a lot of motherly instinct, or what you want to call that. So she's always supported me in my choice to have no kids, because she's been pretty sure if I had some, she would have to take care of them. And I can't say she'd be wrong about that. So, let's get back to those tiles. Yes. So, when you have a room like this, and as you can see, it looks pretty darn boring. The walls that we've made are like these blue blocks that can be pulled out, and not really that pretty in any way. Right now they're just visible, so I know where I have them. What I really want is something else. Maybe I want this out here to be a tree, and this to be branches sticking out. But instead of doing like, I can do that in different ways. I could either, first of all, start designing everything here. Then I could do a file in GIMP of the same size as the room and do an entire image as a background to fit in here. Or you can do this this thing where you choose to use tiles instead. So just to demonstrate simply, I'm just going to close down this drill here. Close without saving, and I'm gonna create a new file. Let's make it a bit. Let's make it 1,000 times 1,000. There we go. Okay. And now I have 1,000 times 1,000. This like sheet of paper with a white background. I don't really care about the white background, but it's good to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to add a layer. It's going to come in at the same size, but it's going to be transparent. Okay then. So if, for instance, let's say I want this to be plant graphic. I want this to be a tree with branches. Yeah. How do I do that? Well, first of all, instead of doing one long thingy here, I might want to kind of have something I can put in several times instead. Oh, you wanted to post some tiles. Can someone please help Moiko to show some tiles? I'm pretty sure that one of the mods can help you out with permission or something. Or is it just Nightbot that's annoying? Nightbot's a bot. That's just how it is. So, but I have this here. If I turn off the white layer, I just have transparency. Nothing beneath it there. So let's just say I want to do a tree. Okay then. I like squares because you can stack squares easily. Like this. And then I'll move it here. It's like a corner of my graphic. Then I might want to make it brown because it's going to be a tree trunk. So let's just pour some paint in there. Now I have a tree trunk. Control and the mouse wheel to zoom in. And now I'm going to do just a few lines in this. So let's do something simple with a slightly darker brown color here. Remember, if you want something when it's put together to be entirely tileable, that if you do things that go to the end at the top, you'll have to make them go to the end at the bottom as well to make it look really good. So if I do one here, there we go. That. This is really just a little bit of freestyling with the square tool and the bucket to make something that has a bit of a wood structure to it. Oh, that's a bit wide. Let me see what you posted there. Oh, DNS address could not be found. That might be because I'm in Denmark. No idea. I can't see the link for sure. Yeah, freestyle. Waka waka. Let's not make me sing. That's not gonna be a hit performance, I can tell you that much. So, almost done with this. Let's call this one our tree trunk. Is it pretty? Not necessarily, but it's there so we can use it. So that's going to be a tree trunk. Let's see. Right now that one is about, you can see up here on the screen that it starts at around 25 and it ends at around 50, 60, 70. So it's about a 50 wide sprite. I may want to do that a little bit smaller actually, so I can just mark it up here. I use my scale thingy here. I really want it to be like that, like that. Scale that. That's my wood. Now, for an easy branch, what I would do here is I would copy this, Control C, Control V. Take this copied piece, take my layer button here and do transform. No, wait a second. I'm gonna do the rotate options because I like the rotate option up here. Click the rotate option here at an angle. See there? 90 degrees. Rotate. There we have that. Now you might want it to be a little bit skinnier because once again this is a branch. This isn't like the tree trunk. So like that. A little bit shorter just for graphics. Scale that. Yes, I am in Denmark. That is where I am, where I was born and raised and spent most of my days. Is Denmark very interesting? Not when you're living here. So, just for these two pieces, and maybe I want a little bit of some green stuff as well. So let's grab this one and grab a green. Do like a, oh, make sure we haven't selected anything here. Let's see there. Okay. Layers, make sure this one is anchored. And on this layer I can just, you know, do something like this. Let's call that something for a tree. Put in a slightly darker one as well. Maybe not as high opacity. Once again, is it pretty? No, but it's not really there for it to be pretty, it's just there to kind of demonstrate. Now we have these three pieces here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to export it. This is the right folder. I can see my troll here and my bears. It's a PNG file and I'm going to call it tile sheet 1. So I know what this is. Once again, don't need to save comments or creation time, just save the resolution, background count, and color values from transparent pixels, and then export that one. And oh, do for Sverige. Cool. Well, we have other Scandinavians as well. I'm not really sure if anyone is present right now, but Benighted, who is the inspiration for the Purple Bear character. Yeah. The English only is a thing to make sure that Some people, they have a tendency to come in and start trolling in random languages and stuff like that. That's really annoying. We saved that one. I'm going to go in here. Let's just leave this room for a little bit. And then I'm going to go into backgrounds here. I have no backgrounds yet, but I'm going to create a background. Load a background. And I'm going to find my tile set wherever it went. It went to the wrong folder again. Let's go up there. Platform. Images. Didn't it go there? Oh, there it went. Yep. Open. Now imagine this being filled with all different random things. Now, when I open this one up here, there's an option here that says Use as Tile Set. And I'm going to check that option. What is the tile set? Well, as you can see here, I got some really nice squares around here all of a sudden. I can choose what width I want the tiles to be, and I want them to be pretty darn small so that I don't end up with a lot of extra. If you do this in the totally correct way, what you'll want to do is, of course, that you want to place everything perfectly on the tiles that you're going to use. But right now, I'm just doing it like this. So I'm going to go into my room here, and here there is this called tiles. So if I go in here, background 0 it says, because I didn't name it anything, I have my tile set. Now isn't that nice? Now if I click here and I hold down Alt, I get to click and drag and just select this piece here I want. And when I click here, it's gonna be here. Right? Now down here there's a check mark that you need to take away, because this one says delete underlying. What that means is if I try to place one piece of graphic on top of another piece of graphic, then it's going to delete the one underneath. Thank you very much, Moiko, and sleep well and have sweet dreams and everything. Feel free to stop by anytime. Right now I have my Snap X and Snap I in here set to 32. So let's try putting that one down to 8 as well. Now you can see something here, and that is this blue one. It gets in the way. So what can I do about that? If I only want this graphic to show, and I don't really want, oh, you can see if I click again, my tile repeats. I got a new tile. There we go. Can do as many tiles I want. Delete underlying, that was the issue. See, now I can just, now none of them disappears. Now they'll just stay where I put them. Now I can do this thing where I say yes to this, and then I go into my OBJ wall here, my object wall. And instead of having it as visible, I'm just gonna uncheck this. Okay? Go back into my room. You can see it's still visible here, but let's make sure we put some tiles down at the level where we are here. So let's go back into the tiles, check our tile set, the background 0 here. Make sure we get that. I want that branch there as well. So Alt, pick up what I want, click there and put it up there, click there and put it there. See, this one is of course not made so that it fits the size of everything, but really that's not the point of this. It's just a demonstration of this tile thingy. So now I've done this, and you have this blue stuff here, but because I unchecked the visibility thing, as soon as I play, it's not going to be able to see all the rest of this. All it's going to be able to see is the tiles I put in. So let's just do some of this green stuff as well. Alt, stretch, click, there we go. green stuff. And remove the delete underline, because that one gets old really fast. If stuff disappears when you're working, there's a good chance that you forgot to uncheck this one. So let's just say yes, and let's start playing this, see what happens. See, he's standing on absolutely nothing. Oh my god, what's happening? Oh, that's what's happening. See? Everything else became invisible. So all I have now is the tiles I used as graphic. And back to start once again. So that was very simple explanation on how to use tiles for graphic. I hope that you can see that it's a great way to make sure that that you can do repeatable graphic, just reusing the same image again and again without having to import it as different sprites every time. A big 2-day event happening this weekend. What's happening this weekend, Juju? Oh yeah, I always rage quit, definitely. Nah. And I have no idea what you mean with game jam, Juju. Do you mean gaming or doing some stuff with making games? See, right now I'm through all the things I promised to do today, so now I can just stare at chat and talk to people. Oh, I don't want this one called background. So probably not going to use it for anything. It was just an example, but let's just stick it there for now. So, last couple of times I've been doing a poll about something about this game, because I don't want to be the one who decides everything. It's boring. And I know that I have one more enemy character that I need to make because we talked about this hunter character. But I would also like to work a little bit with what we call level design. So the question is, what am I going to do next time? Am I going to work on the second group of enemies, the one based on the shooting enemies, or am I mainly going to work on graphics? So, if possible, could we do a poll and have people pick out whether next time is going to be enemy programming or level design? That as in graphics. It just makes it easier for me when I don't have to take decisions like that. And it's 22:36. So 2.5 hours. That's pretty good. Reasonable at least. Well, I have at least one here for level design and graphics, I can see. And to talk a little bit more about that, if I do level designs and graphics, it'll of course be aimed at the platform game that we're working on, with the characters we're working on. It's going to be a stream where I talk about some of the decisions you make when you make your level design, how to take the story you want to tell in your game and turn it into graphics. So that's 2 for graphics. Well, that's good. So far, it definitely looks like it's going to be a graphics stream next time. I'm just going to let the questions sit there for a couple of more minutes while I sip my beer. But well, I'm waiting to see if any more people have something to say about next Monday, whether it should be level design and graphics or if it should be enemy design and the programming. How are you all doing on this Monday? This rainy, autumny Monday, as it is here. Personally, I haven't had a lot done today besides getting ready for the stream, doing a little dinner prep, very light dinner prep because we decided on just having a salad today. Ah, salad. Yeah, I like salad. And it's easy. But damn, once in a while it would be nice to feel the energy to spend 5 hours cooking a meal, doing something totally old school. Something my great-great-grandmother would be proud that I did in the days before the non-housewife appeared. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Dark Winter Dreams. I'm glad to hear that. Lots and lots of fluids and rest and taking care of yourself or finding people to take care of you if you can't take care of yourself. Being sick sucks. No doubt about that. I'm so happy that the very small bout of concrete I got from the Copenhagen Comic Con, it was like 2-3 days and then it went away again. And it wasn't like the really bad kind, it was just like nausea and stuff. So, well, sounds relaxing. That's a good thing for Monday, Zazu. Not doing a lot is a good choice for Monday. So, as far as I can see, next Monday what's going to happen is we're going to talk a lot about level design and graphics. I'm looking forward to that. I like doing the graphic stuff, like everybody knows. And yeah, talking about gaming in general and how to work with design is really interesting. I like that. Yes, well, some housekeeping. Well, you always have to do some housekeeping. As long as it's not a lot of housekeeping, that's okay. Well, I think we're closing in on that time where I'm going to pick someone else that we can raid. Because raiding is fun and we should all remember to do it so people know who we are and you can get to perhaps see a streamer you haven't seen before. And as far as I can see, Geek Girly is still streaming Stardew Valley. And honestly, if you're interested in game design, you don't have to be interested in the game Stardew Valley, but it's a really interesting project to look at and to pick out ideas if you ever want to do something RPG style. Oh, it's Project Human on. Project Human. Oh, we need to go to Project Human. That is the good people who's there. So, there we go. No, I'm sorry. It's going to be a Project Human because Chisley is so adorable and such a sweetheart and has been really, really supportive and has been supportive too, of course. But the rest of the time I throw people to her stream anyway. So, so if you have the energy for it on such a Monday, go say hi to Chisley and let's do a little football raid. Yeah, Chisley really is great. He's a great guy. I think we all love him. So Football Raid is going to be the message. And you just go nuts. I'm in the chat right now. I'm going to wait a bit for the thingy. So you all caught up. And when you're in the chat, I am going to go Football Raid. So I hope everybody's there now, so we can send some love Chisley's way. Thank you so much to everybody for sticking around and listening to me doing Gamemaker. I hope you come back next Monday, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Let's do this raid thing. I'm raiding. There we go, football raid. So once again, thank you for being here. I enjoyed it immensely. I hope you had at least a little bit of fun and maybe learned something. And next Monday I will be back. Stop streaming. Bye.